everyone to today's Office of Indian Education Distance Learning Series. Today we'll be focusing on collaborating online. Let's go and get disclaimed. Oh, shucks, sorry. Oh, it's not going. Let me try one more time. No, I'll read it for you. This presentation was produced under the U.S. Department of Education contact number GS00F115CA with Synergy Enterprises Incorporated. The views expressed herein do not necessarily represent the positions or policies of the U.S. Department of Education. No official endorsement by the U.S. Department of Education of any product, commodity, service, or enterprise mentioned herein is intended or should be inferred. Okay, now that we got that personalized disclaimer, let's move forward to introductions. Aloha, I am Olani Lily. I am with the OIE Technical Assistance Team. I currently reside in Hilo, Hawaii, and have been working within Hawaiian language immersion and culture-based education for the last 20 years. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself, your name, and where you're zooming in from in the chat. If you can't locate the chat, it's down at the bottom under, and just click on chat. So as people are sort of putting in where they're zooming in from, let's go ahead and look at what we want to accomplish today. So again, welcome. We're going to be focusing on collaboration online. In order to do that, we're going to consider how to foster collaboration within a virtual environment. We're going to explore some tools to facilitate student and or staff collaboration, as well as identify ways to incorporate collaborative tools into the program activities. But before we get to the tools, collaboration is a term that gets used all over the place. So I thought maybe let's look at what it really means. And so I went to Webster and pulled out these two definitions. And I think some of the key words are work jointly with others to pursue an intellectual endeavor, as well as maybe to cooperate with an agency or instrumentality which is not immediately connected. Now, these are very broad. This is a very broad definition. Collaboration is used a lot in education now. And it really is helpful to sort of understand, like, what are we talking about when we talk about collaboration, and why is collaboration such a thing? I'm going to take a moment just to sort of see in the chat who's all is here. Oh, hi, Susan from Alaska. American Indian Resource Center. Hello, aloha. Hi, Jamie. Tiffany, aloha. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to move ahead. I just didn't want to let that go. So what are some of the benefits of collaborating? In 2012, Stanford University did a study called Cues of Working Together Fuel Intrinsic Motivation. And what they found was that when staff work together for a common goal, and I think that's really the key when it comes to collaboration, it's not just working together, but it's towards a common goal, whether it's a staff or student collaboration. But what they found was that staff had 64% longer task perseverance, higher engagement levels, lower fatigue, and higher success rate. Again, and that sort of makes sense in the sense of nowadays, a lot of our common goals are more like a marathon versus a sprint. And so it's really great to work with people to help support that marathon. Additionally, being able, not all of us, although, we can be amazing people, have all the skills. We do have gaps in skills. And so to bring in and work with people who can fill your gaps helps you both remain higher engaged as well as create lower fatigue, because uh, the entire sort of skill set is not needed to come from one particular person. And, amazingly enough, and maybe not so amazingly, that when you work together with people on a common goal, you actually have a higher success rate at achieving that goal. What are the benefits for collaboration for students? Well, getting students to collaborate on a project or on a activity really allows them to practice real world interpersonal skills, whether it's being able to take on a role and fulfill that role, being able to communicate, develop goals, set tasks, and develop accountability, as well as the skill of learning how to both receive and give feedback. I know in the communities I work with for Native Hawaiians, a lot of times it's very hard and very uncomfortable to receive positive feedback. And so, working with our Native students to be able to receive both the positive and the constructive feedback is really helps prepare them for the world. Additionally, what a study found was that a lot of students, when they work together, actually retain the information, have an increased level of retention in the actual content. And through shared responsibility and being able to achieve a goal, either whether they achieve it or not, they actually have an increase in their self-esteem. So a lot of great benefits for both staff and students in the area of collaboration, and why you would want to do that. I want to sort of take a pause from my talking and sort of get you folks to think about pre going virtual, pre COVID, and think about ways that you were having both staff and students collaborate. And maybe, a lot of those activities you were able to move forward, but maybe there's some you haven't been able to figure out how to move from the face to face collaboration to virtual. If you have any of those instances, go ahead and put them in the chat. Well, what I want to try to do myself, along with my team, Sarah, Tracy, and Sarah, will hopefully, as we go through the tools, be able to provide you with some insight and maybe some. Maybe like a highlight about here, this might be a good tool to help you collaborate and move from that activity being just solely face to face to a virtual collaboration. And so please think about, again, the activities you were doing previously that were collaborative that you haven't been able to move over into the virtual that you'd like some help on. You can go ahead and put that in the chat throughout the discussion. So as I'm going to move on to some uh, considerations when we think about moving our collaborative activities to a virtual or online platform. One of the things we want to consider is who will be collaborating. So whether you have a preschool student or a senior staff member, who are you going to be collaborating with, and what tool will best facilitate that collaboration? So for example, in a prior school I worked at, a preschool class, the collaboration was primarily between the student, a family member, and the teacher, and a little bit of other students when it came to um, developing the skill around feedback. And so the parent would collaborate in taking a video of the child practicing their Hawaiian language vocabulary within their community. And the parent would be the team member or the collaborative partner to be able to post that into the private YouTube channel. And then the teacher was able to provide feedback and then share their videos with their peers. And the peers were able to collaborate and give feedback regarding that student's video. And so for preschool, that might be the level of collaboration that you'd want to start with. Of course, when you get into high school, you're thinking about more independent activities where students are able to develop plans and tasks and be able to meet on their own and work on projects, whether it's a writing project or a presentation off of a shared document. And then, of course, for staff, I got this kind of funny story. I was received a grant, and I thought a great idea of engaging my teachers in sort of the project management side of grants. And so not only that they were just sort of like receiving these funds out of the air or being asked to, do all these reports and provide this information, I wanted to provide them some context. And so I utilized a virtual online tool that was very project management based. And I shared it with the teachers and they freaked out. They were really good, curriculum planners, assessment developers, lesson and unit planners. But when they saw the Gantt chart or all the tasks that were required from the program management side, they kind of freaked out. And what I realized is while they were already good planners, I needed to sort of make the connection between what they did on a daily and yearly basis to program management language and sort of how we see the world. And they were able, once I did that, they were able to more engage in that online platform. So again, consider who you're collaborating with and their capacity. The other thing is to look at what tools are your students and staff currently using. So really get a sense of the landscape of the current virtual tools that they're using. Um, I liken it to buying new clothes. So I see this really cute dress that's very seasonal, very of this 2021 season, and I want to purchase it. So when I purchase it and bring it home, I realize that I might have to remove or donate two older dresses that are kind of old and tattered, and take that out of my closet. And so when you're considering online tools, if you are going to add on a new tool, you might want to consider removing some tools that are currently being used at maybe not high capacity and high engagement. And so that's another thing to consider when it comes to tools and students and staff. Um, think about what are the other online virtual tools the student is using in other classrooms with other teachers. Additionally, what's happening at home, and if they have siblings who are using other tools. Again, I really think it's helpful for the student and the staff to have manageable tools. Otherwise, I think it might decrease your efficiencies. The other thing is really understanding what your collaboration goals are. So they can be very different, like I said, for the kindergarten student versus, a program manager staff or a program staff. Again, at the preschool area, it might be a lot of videos, a lot of sort of constructed feedback to provide, maybe utilizing some drawing tools, but you really want to consider what the collaboration goal is for the particular user or team member. So when we consider what we're talking about, I'm talking about virtual tools, virtual tools. What do we mean when we talk about collaborative virtual tools? Now, the thing is you can buy all kinds of amazing software and it's not going to collaborate for you. Really, what you want to do is look for functions embedded in that will help to facilitate collaboration. So you really want to look, when you talk about students, look for maybe a system that can manage documents. So there's one place where the documents are housed. Also that you can collaborate so multiple people can work on one particular document. That you can hopefully create small groups and discussions, as well as a shared calendar. So you can share when tasks are due, when assignments are due, those sorts of tasks. Those are things that you really want to look for in a collaboration tool for students. And so today, for the student portion of this, we're going to be looking at Edmodo and Google Classroom. And we're going to be looking at both of them as being the free version. So, a teacher can jump on and go ahead and start organizing their class and start to organize to facilitate collaboration. And you can see by this comparison list that they're pretty comparable. Um, when we're when you talk about assistant assignment management, sorry, what you're really talking about is from the teacher side, that they're able to sort of create folders or a place in which they're housing assignment or class documents. Both of these tools provide that. Additionally, communication, whether it's messaging, email, right, or maybe even sending a text, both of them provide some level of that, as well as a really crucial area in collaboration is around shared documents. So both the teacher being able to share documents, as well as the student being able to share potentially with other students in a collaborative setting online. Also being able to receive real-time notifications and updates from the teacher to student, or the student to their collaboration group, or back to the teacher. And then a shared calendar where events and assignments can be housed for either a whole class or groups within the class to be provided, a shared calendar. And then a collaborative workspace, really Google Classroom, it really is I think provides the best um, uh, collaborative workspace for working within documents. Both of these platforms, the free version, do not provide a direct link to either Zoom or Google Meets. Now, in Google Classroom, you can go on the calendar and create an event and invite and connect Google Meet there. However, at the top of the page on Google Classroom in the free version, it does not create its own and generate its own unique Google Meet. Additionally, for Edmodo, you would need to go ahead and sort of copy and paste your Zoom or Google Meet link into your Edmodo platform or newsfeed to be able to share that with students. So that's a comparison of the two. Let's get into some of the tools. We're going to be looking first at Edmodo. It's document management, document collaboration, small group work and discussion, and shared calendar. I'm going to change your view here. And here we are. So we're going to look at it from, so we're going to look at Edmodo from two perspectives. The first perspective is from the teacher, and then we're going to show the collaborative sort of functions from the student perspective. And really what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go into how you sort of set up Edmodo and how you create the account. We're just going to assume that you've done that and we've created a class. What I really want to highlight is how you organize this in order to facilitate collaboration. And so I've already created the class. Of course, if I go into members, an important piece of collaborating is making sure you have all your students in your on your list. So I've already invited and those students have accepted. Additionally, if I want to create small groups, I can go ahead and click here um, to go ahead and create a small group, which I've done already. If you go back to this plus sign here, you can go ahead and create a small group and create. And there that small group is. And this way, when I want to sort of assign students to particular groups, I can go here and select students and add them in as members to the group. Click here, and I can add this student, and then they show up here. Now in Edmodo, there are two views. There is the group view, which you can see here, which is a regular post. I'm going to go to group one because it's a more created group. And so you can scroll down and see everything that was specifically sent for group one. It looks a lot like a Facebook post. Additionally, I can go to my class, the larger group, and I can see everything posted to the class. And so you can sort of scroll down and see all of that. So we're going to work from right now from my from the whole class view. Now, when it comes to document management, Edmodo provides folders. And so I can go here and I can create a unit folder. Maybe if I'm doing project-based learning, I can go ahead and create a project folder where can put all the resources that I want to have here. If I want to add a folder, I can come up to click on manage folders. But I've already gone ahead and created some folders for you to see how I can go ahead and can manage the documents, which is a key aspect of collaborating and facilitating collaboration. So you can see I can pretty much I can upload a movie. I have some documents that students can read, as well as an assignment here. If I want to add more uh, things into this folder, I can go ahead and upload from my hard drive. I can create a link. I can create a quiz or Word document, Excel, any of these generated and originating from this actual folder. So that's again how we do management. Now I want to go ahead and look at how do I um, push out the information and the documents to students in order to facilitate collaboration. And one of the ways I can do that is by creating an assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment. I've already, again, in my folder created this assignment. So I'm just going to load an existing one. I want to do chant deconstruction. So I'm going to click here. Now I want my students to be able to come together, work on a specific chant, and be able to deconstruct that chant. And this is the document that they're going to do it on. Now, this is where I make the decision about collaboration or no collaboration. So you can see here is the assignment, but when I get down to this document, I can choose whether or not I want them to view only this document. So maybe this is something I want them to read, or I want them to make copies so that they can actively put in and utilize this document for completing their work. And so I want to go ahead and make that a copy. Additionally, when I come up to assign, I can either assign to the whole class, or I can go ahead and let's say I just want group one to be working on this assignment. So I'm going to take out the whole class, and group one will be the group that will receive this assignment. And I want to have it due at the end of this week. I can set the time, and I can also choose to lock after due date. I'm not going to press this because I really want this assignment to be an iterative process, and so I'm not going to lock them out after the due date. I can also click here to schedule for a later date, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to assign it now. So when we get to the student side of this, you'll be able to see. So that's how I begin to move to facilitate collaboration using Edmodo. The other piece is the shared calendar, which is right here. I can create an agenda that can have sort of the tasks that I want to be able to cover today. And so you can see what I've already created. I can also go ahead and create an event. And so let's do a research trip, and we're going to do it on next week. And I don't want it to I do want to, we always want to remind ourselves. Okay. And then I want to see like, who are my participants? Am I sending this out to the whole class, or am I doing to one group? Well, this one I want to send again to group one, because this is going to be connected to the chant they are deconstructing. So this event will only be shared with group one. So I want to go ahead and put that in. So now when I want to look at, again, the shared calendar, the full calendar, I can click here, excuse me, and see the full calendar. I can see both group assigned activities as well as whole class. View agenda, just give you a sort of sense of the different types of information. So right here is an assignment that's due. I've got no submission, so I can see that all right there. Okay. So that is the shared calendar. I want to go back and I want to just sort of show you what that looks like in group. So group again has this same feel. I can go ahead and create an agenda just for group. So again, this is really great if you have, if you're doing project-based learning, in that I can create a separate agenda for group one. And they can tackle their different tasks that's specifically made for them, as well as be able to see that this research trip is coming up for them. Okay, and they can see all that information. Now that we've sort of seen how the calendar sort of functions both on the whole class as well as the group level, I want to show you move to communication. And so I'm a student in this group. I got this research trip notification from my teacher. One way I can communicate is to just go in here and send a comment. Okay, great. What do we need to bring? Oops, sorry. And I can send that comment. Okay, so that's a comment that a student can do on this end of the program project. Additionally, as from a teacher, I can go here and I can create messages, which looks much like a chat. So I can come here and create a message I want to send to one of my students, and I can see the sort of discussion we've been previously having. I want to send to student, bring your towel, and I can send. And we'll see what that looks like on the student side as well. And so that's how we can communicate within Edmodo. So let's switch from the teacher view to the student view. Okay, so I am a student. My name is Ruth. I have received in my science area that my group one will be going on a field trip. I can see the comment on the bottom from another student, but that was me. Sorry, I don't have that many students on here. I can also see my assignment that is just started. And so let's go and look at how I can view this shared document. So I click here on open, and I can see that I can have this document that I can work in. If I have any questions, this is sort of going back, and I need to communicate with teachers, I can click here and write in comments as well if I have any questions or I want to make a comment. So if I want to share that information, I can go ahead and do that. Download this document. Here it comes, and be able to work on this document and share that document work with the group that I'm collaborating with. Okay. Let's go back. I can also go ahead and attach documents that maybe we've completed from my computer, from a web link, or from my backpack. And that here on the student side is where a lot of the documents can be housed as well. Okay, is in your backpack. So I can click here. I want to work on this document, and it pops up. Okay, I'm going to get out of there and go back to my student and back to my class. Well, let's go to calendars actually. So I can see my calendar again. I can see what was assigned to my group as well as what was assigned to as far as the work goes. I can work on my annotation with partners and I can comment and mark as completed. I did that already. Okay, I can also come here and I can add my own either event or task into my student calendar as well. Here's how I can go ahead and communicate with my teacher or with other people who I have access to. I would have other maybe some of my team members here as well. And then I can go ahead and I see my teacher's message. I need to bring a towel and okay, I can send this back to my teacher. Okay, so that is how you both you manage documents, be able to collaborate off of documents shared by your teacher and with a team, create a shared calendar, and also to communicate via Edmodo. Again, in order to facilitate collaboration. Let's move on to Google Classroom. Now I know a lot of you currently use Google Classroom, um, and this may be really familiar to you, but maybe there'll be some new things that you didn't know existed. So we're going to be looking at Google Document Management and Collaboration, a shared calendar, and communication as well. So let's go here and up to, so again, we're going to be looking from the teacher's perspective and then after looking from the student's perspective. And from the teacher's perspective, I want to look at ways in which I can facilitate, again, collaboration. So as you can see, for the teacher, I can see this stream. In this stream, I've gone ahead and put my Zoom meeting launch here. I could also put a Google Meet link there as well. Again, if you had Google Enterprise or Nonprofit, you would be able to generate a class code for Google Meets and it would show up here. But because this is the free version, I don't have access to that. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and make sure my students are all here. This again helps to facilitate collaboration. Now, unfortunately, right now, Google Classroom does not have the function to be able to necessarily create groups. But some of the workaround teachers have utilized in order to facilitate group collaboration is if you have, like, again, you're project-based learning and you have a project in a class that might be lasting for a long period of time, whether it's a quarter or maybe a semester or maybe even year long, you might want to think about creating each project its own Google Classroom. And that way documents and calendars and students are all sort of geared towards that project. That's one workaround. Additionally, later on when I get into how you assign, there are other workarounds you can use in order to send information and assignments out to groups of students. But there isn't something already embedded that creates groups in Google's, but there are workarounds. Okay, so I've got my students in. Let's look at, again, I see my stream, I put my login here. Now I want to go to classwork. I've already created some lessons. This is a kindergarten class. So again, I'm considering what's happening at home, parents facilitating learning, trying to be really mindful of that. I've created a lesson uh, on Hawaiian language. We call them diphthongs, but they're syllable. I've gone ahead and put in the instructions. I also want my students to begin to learn how to provide feedback. And so I've created class comment choices that they can provide and use. And these are all positive and are focused on the skills that I want students to build. This is a three-part lesson. And so I wanted them to be able to actively engage in that. Of course, you can see when you click on the lesson, you can see who's turned in and who's not. And I can also go back to instructions. Um, in here, I can see this document that is shared and students will be able to uh, download and put onto their own Google, and we'll see that later. Um, But this is a three-step process in order to facilitate collaboration. And so they're going to be, again, creating that video of them practicing their hakalama, their diphthongs. They're going to be uploading, the parents are going to be uploading that to our private Google, or I am going to be uploading that to our private YouTube after they share it with me. And then they're going to have to go back in and look at three of their Ho'apapa or friends' videos and provide comments. Now, the way that they can provide comments and share is by typing at and their friend's name and then the comment and then clicking share. And so that's how they can go ahead and share that information and it'll show up and we'll see that on the student side. Okay, I want to go back into my classroom. So now I want to go ahead and I want to create a new assignment. And so I've started one here and put it into draft. Excuse me, I want to go ahead and edit so I can show you how I am making this collaborative. So what I've decided to do is to create separate documents in the class hard drive that are for group 1 and group 2. So Hui Elua, which is 2 in Hawaiian, and another one for Hui Kahi. So I'm going to create really 2 separate assignments for the groups. Again, that's another way, a workaround around being able to provide groups that uh, not provided in sort of the setup of Google Classroom. This is where I can go ahead and think about how I want the work to be collaborative. So I want to add a document, the one I just deleted, but I want to show you what this looks like. And so in the class hard drive, I have I have the Hakalama, as well as I have these worksheets that I made specifically for each group. So they're identical. It's just one is for Hui Elua, group 2, and the other one is for Hui Ekahi, group 1. So I'm going to go ahead and add group 2 there. Now, because I've dedicated this document specifically to this group, I now get to choose how I want students to be able to access this. Oops, where'd it go? There we go. So this is the document for the group. So now I get to choose how they are actually going to access. Students can view, oh, this didn't come out right. Hold on 1 second. That didn't work. Let's see, I want to create, go down to Google Drive. I want to insert, and they can only view. Okay, so I want them to be able to, students can edit this file. This way they can get right in to that document and be able to edit the file. Now the reason why I created 2 was I wanted them to be able to edit in this document. If I didn't want them to do that, I would have them download this separately, because otherwise all of their comments are going to go into that document that's in the Classroom Google Drive. But I do want them to work collaboratively and I do want them to all use this document. So I'm going to come up here. I want to look at, so this is where I can kind of, again, do another workaround with the group. If I looked at who I want this to be assigned to, I only have one person in here, but I would have a whole list of all my students. And I would go ahead and click off of all students and just click on the particular students that I want to have receive this assignment. And I would go ahead and save this. And they will be receiving that document. This is when we talk about document management in Google Classroom, it's all being managed out of the Google Classroom Drive. So here again, you can see the 2 worksheets and the Hakalama document that they can work off of. Additionally, assignments, when they're completed, will end up in this Google. So I don't want to there we go. Okay. Um, the other thing is we can move on to Google Calendar. So as a teacher, I can look down here and I see kindergarten is in black, which maybe should be a brighter, funner color. Let's make it green. Um, and I can see that all the activities or assignments coming up connected to this kindergarten class are in green here. I can also go ahead and create, maybe I just want, at this time, I want to create a group a Kahi meeting. I can go ahead and do that and send out to students that are in group Ekahi. I can also add attachments here as well. Okay, and I want to go ahead and save that. All right, so that is really the teacher end of Google Classroom that I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with. Okay, let's get to I'm going to close some of this. Otherwise, I have too much open. And let's get to the student side of this. Look, I can see that my stream has been updated. So I'm getting something from my teacher. My teacher has posted a new assignment for me. Again, that's the stream is a way of communication. I can see here in the calendar of what my assignments are and what's coming up. If I go to my classwork, I can see the assignment here. I can view my assignment. I can see comments and I want to add my own comment. Add to Kukuipahu and go ahead and create my comment. Once I've done my 3 comments, I can come up and add it. I can add my video here, either through a link, a file. I can also get other documents and also get any kind of work I have in my own Google Drive in Classroom. Okay. And then I can, once I've done that and I've done my 3 comments, I can mark as done. Okay. So that was me finishing that assignment, which had a limited level of collaboration. I'm going to go back because I got a new assignment and I want to look at this document. Um, Now, Google is pretty amazing in that it really has, I think I would say its philosophy is sharing is caring, because there are so many ways that you can share just about everything in Google. And so if I come here, one of the ways I can share is I can, again, receive this document from the teacher, but I can also maybe go out and share this with my teammates. So maybe my teacher only sent it to me and it's my responsibility. Of course, this wouldn't be kindergarten, this probably be an upper level class for me to share with my team members. So I would go ahead and add more of my team members in so that they would be able to work directly in this document. And I'm sure you know, Google is really great in that a lot of when we're working together on a particular document, it's really happening in real time. Only sometimes you may have to come up to refresh to see what your other classmates are putting in, but it really is a real-time collaborative tool. I'm going to close that and come back here. Now, what does my, let's go to classwork. What does my calendar look like? So I want to look at that shared calendar. Again, I'm seeing it. Here is kindergarten down here. So I know everything with this forest green is my kindergarten class. Now, maybe if you're up in the higher levels, I may have multiple classes here. And so they would be showing up as different colors. If I am in an upper level class, I could also, again, sharing is caring, create a meeting for my group. And I can include my group members. We're going to be able to access that right on through Google Meets because I want it to be face-to-face. And I can also attach the document that I want to be working on. As a teacher, I could do the same thing as well. Okay, so we've covered, let's see, We've covered where our document management. We've covered how we've been able to collaborate on a shared document that our teacher shared with us. And we've also talked about Google Calendar and a little bit about how we can, oh, sorry, how we can communicate with students. So if we come here, I can, as a student, I can communicate here, or I can also go into people. Oh, I'm sorry, not here. I can come here and be able to send an email as well. As well as in classwork, you saw that I could share in this activity, I was able to uh, make comments to my peers. I can also communicate privately with my teacher, and I can receive those comments as well. Okay, so that is how we would uh, facilitate collaboration via Google Classroom. So let's talk and think about how we facilitate collaboration for staff. Um, Again, what we want to do is look at the tools that are here, and what we would be looking for in a tool that would help to facilitate collaboration. Um, we want to look for document management, document collaboration, a shared calendar, as well as I think an added piece would be task management and, of course, communication. Here we can go ahead and look at comparing the two. So we're going to be looking at for staff collaboration, are the platform Teamwork and then just Google Suites or Google Chrome. We'll be looking at task and project management. Teamwork is really geared towards project management. They both have the ability to communicate within their systems. Of course, Google uses Gmail, and then also be able to share documents and work in a shared document. They both provide real-time notifications, both within the teams, as well as shared calendar. They both have that capacity and a collaborative workspace as well. Uh, And in both of the free versions, they both have, you will need to provide a link to either a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet meeting. Again, with Google, Chrome Meet is integrated into your invitation and even in your email. And so it is slightly integrated. However, if you were going to do a Zoom meeting, you would need to make sure you copy and paste it or make sure you had that invite in there. Additionally, Zoom does integrate with Chrome, so you could generate an invite from Zoom itself. All right, so let's get into teamwork. In the teamwork platform, we're going to be looking at document management and collaboration, a shared calendar, and task management. Let me go ahead and share that screen. Okay, so here we are in teamwork. Again, I won't go into how you log in, but you can go ahead and create a free version. Um, what I did was I created a project. So with the free version, you can have up to 5 teammates and 2 projects. And so, of course, what we first want to do is go ahead and create people that we want to have in our group. And then we go to projects. So I've already gone ahead and created a new project. And here we are in this new project. The next step, of course, I would do is make sure I had my people in, which is down here. So when you're looking at this, this is the dashboard for this particular project, which I think is great for a project manager or a project person. And what this tool really does is provide a lot of program-based information to multiple members of the program. Now, again, you can only have five, and maybe your team is larger. So you may want to think about creating, sharing this with a leadership team, including like your fiscal person to be intimately involved with the project. And so this dashboard can be a great tool to share at a leadership team meeting or a staff meeting. Additionally, you can look at it just as a task list. You can see who it's assigned to and when it's due. So again, this is very project management based. You could go ahead and it organizes according to staff. So a lot of you, being grant receivers, could take your work project and organize it right into these tasks. So again, you see we have the task of hiring project staff. And then we have gone in and created what are the different steps that we're going to need to do in order to create, to meet that goal, to hire our people. But really, part of the milestone connected to hiring project staff is really, again, connected back to our grant. And it's that 20 service providers contracts will be completed by the first quarter. Again, someplace where you can manage everything. So we can go ahead and look at, I'm looking down at schedule interviews, and you can see these little icons along the side that allow us to provide more information that can be generated in other places of this platform. One of the things is I can take schedule interviews. Well, okay, great. But also I need a subtask, and I need to sort of also, one of the subtasks is I need to find space to conduct. Sorry. Okay. Here I get to, again, put the start date and the end date, and then go ahead and save those challenges. And that looks like it's a little indented. I don't have another subtask for my subtask. However, when I get to a place where I want to be working on it, I might actually, if this task is assigned to me, log in. This is a great feature. And I'll show that to you when we get to the team member side. As the team director, I can also select what priority this task is. And then I can also go ahead and if it's a task assigned to me, I can go ahead and show where we are in the progress of completing this task. I can set a reminder here. I can also determine whether I'm going to manage or follow this task. This can determine how often I get communication regarding this task. Here I can add a comment. So not only can I add a comment in around sort of the big work of the project, but maybe if this task I am working on this with the office manager who I need to reserve rooms for, I can go ahead and add a comment and send that comment to that particular person. What I can select the people of who should be notified about this. Um, so maybe everyone needs to be notified, and I can determine what uh, if whether or not there's a level of privacy on this message. And then I want to save that. Okay. So those are sort of these really cool tools that are connected to the actual task. The other thing is I talked about Gantt chart. And what is a Gantt chart? Gantt chart is this. It's basically a bar code, a bar graph that maps out the project tasks and see, I can at a visual view, get a sense of where we are and how long we anticipate tasks running. And this is really great if you have long, like I say, marathon tasks. This is used a lot in like construction, and also again just project management. So let's get out of this view. So that's a really awesome tool to have. Additionally, I can go ahead and create milestones. Again, these are based on, can be based straight out of my grant application. And I can go ahead and manage this, which is great because I can also provide additional information. So maybe like for this one, I want to make sure that one of the tasks was to get assessments done. I can actually attach those assessments to this milestone. And it'll be a one place where when I need to go ahead and get ready for my program reports, I can collect that information. Let's go into communication. Again, I can message both from within the task as well as sort of like I like to say, like whole project picture. I can, it's just like a regular email, but I don't have to sort of go out and email from Google. I can post a message from within Teamworks itself, which really helps with, again, collaboration. Another tool that can help with collaboration, in particular with content and document management, is files. And so I can go ahead and create this file repository. I can go and upload files from my hard drive. I'm going to put this one in again. Again, I can decide on who should be notified that I've actually uploaded this file. If it has any category, right now we don't have categories. And maybe, again, maybe this is an HR file, or maybe this is a budget file that I just want to um, only myself and the fiscal person to receive. I can go ahead and determine what level of privacy I would like that file to have access. Okay. And then time, again, this is where I can log in my time. And we'll get to that again when we see, look from the staff side. But I can also, as a project director, I can see staff logging in their time. This is really great if you have multiple projects, or if different staff are assigned to different parts of the project. So for example, I know in ACE grantees, there is only so much time that can actually be allocated towards administrative functions. So this is a really great tool in order to help you manage that and be able to actually have the documentation to support that you have actually spent 20% and no more on administrative. The other great tool is I can create a notebook that can be shared. So I can add a notebook. So I know, let's say I want to start to research staff recruitment and retention. Retention. Okay. Oh, and I can go ahead and put in notes. Maybe we've had a meeting. I can put in the agenda meeting and notes right here. I can select the people who, again, I want to have notified that I've been posting this up, and there's an update to this, to notebooks, a category. And then again, do I want everybody to see? If the notebook contains sensitive content, I can go ahead and check that information. So let's see. And, oh, great. And let's select some people. I want everyone, and update and create notebook. Again, this is not actual facilitation, but these are sort of tools that allow you to facilitate. Additionally, there is a risk area. I'm not going to get too much into that because that's not really focused around collaboration. But again, if you did have a risk, you could go ahead and log one in and share that with your team, and everybody would be able to see it. Links, this is a really great area, particularly like let's say we have a fiscal person who can download maybe every month. They are going to download our project expenditure report, and they can go ahead and create a link right here. So we know every time we want to go ahead and look at that report, we can find that right here. Billing. This again is where your time sheet comes in. A great tool for fiscal to be able to access once staff are putting in their time and effort, that it will assist the fiscal person to be able to monitor that and be able to create their reports. This is a way where we can communicate. We can go ahead and make comments and see all those comments here. Uh, this is where we did this, looked at our people and then the settings. So let's go ahead and look at this from a staff person's perspective or a team member's perspective. As a team member, I am getting in my email that I put in a daily report. So you can see that right here of maybe some tasks coming up and any events. But let's go to my actual teamwork page. So right here, I see my projects that I'm assigned to. I'm going to see, okay, great. This is how our project is going. We've got a lot of upcoming. We've got a lot of started. We need to get some things completed, and I do. So I can go ahead and look at tasks. Again, I can see the view of the Gantt chart here, if that's a way that I prefer to look at this. But right now, I just sort of want to see what I got going on here. I need to review. This has actually been assigned to me. So I want to look at this. I want to look at I'm going to go ahead and log in more time. And this is how I would do that. I put who it is, the date, the time I started, and the time I ended. And yes, I want this to be billable. So I'm going to go ahead and click billable. And this is administrative task. And go ahead and use that. And then also click on this task is now complete and log this time in. So again, if you remember, that will be shared back, and a fiscal person can go ahead and click on this and be able to download or collect everybody's billable hours. Again, I can see where we are on the milestones and where I am. I can go ahead and send a message and generate a message right here and decide who receives that message. I can go ahead and look at, this is our file management. I can go ahead and look at these documents. And this is where collaboration sort of begins to happen, in that I can look at this document, download it, and be able to work on this document on my own, or click on it here and view. Now, it doesn't allow me to sort of be able to have that same working in the same place as Google Docs does and at the same time. But once I've gone ahead and done my edits, I can go ahead and upload the new version here and add that file that can then be shared. I can look at my time here and where I'm spending my time, and also be able to generate and start a new timer. I can look at the shared notebooks. Again, there's two. Maybe I'm seeing the meeting minutes as it relates to research on recruitment. I can also go ahead and add my own research. I can provide links, and all of that will be shared. I can see the shared links and add my own links as well. And then I can see what I am sort of submitting for billing. Okay. And that is sort of the staff member side of Google. All right. So let's go back. Okay, so we've done teamwork. I know that was a lot. And as you can see, again, it's very much program management. So let's move on to Google, just sort of Google on your suites and focus in on the functions that allow us to manage documents, collaborate on documents, a shared calendar, and task management. Okay, I'm going to close down some of this because I got a lot going on. Okay, so really, you can see, it's Google Suites has amazing tools, but it's not organized like teamwork. And so you sort of have to strategically think about how you want to go ahead and organize a program or a project in order to facilitate collaboration and make your life a little bit more manageable. Because, Google, you could have stuff all over the place. And so what I do is I start with my Google Drive and really thinking about managing documents. And so I went ahead and created a Google development project because I am pulling together some team members to work on develop a fund development project. And so I have some documents in here that I've already created. Additionally, I can go here and decide that I want to share the entire folder with everyone on my team, which would be great. But maybe there's some things that I don't want to share with everyone. And so I might not go ahead and share the entire document, the entire folder, sorry. But I want to go ahead and create sort of team member folders that I can go ahead and create and share documents in their folders and create those documents right in their folders and manage from the actual team members folders. But right now, what I want to do is I want to get my team around collaborating on a survey that we need to go ahead and interview prospective donors on. And so I've actually created a draft of that right here. But in order to engage my staff, what I want to do is next go to calendar in order to create a shared calendar. So in order to create a shared project calendar, I would go down to these other calendars here. Click on plus and create a new calendar. Um, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to go funding project. And I get to choose my time zone and create calendar. All right. So now that I've done that, I want to come and look at how am I going to sort of make this uh, shared. And so this is how I go about doing that. I don't want to auto accept invitations. And I don't want this available to public. I want to add my team members. So I'm going to add a team member here and send this invite to this calendar. And we'll see sort of what that looks like on the other end. The other thing is I can look at notification, how I want to be notified, whether it's an event um, or or I want new events, change events, cancel events, what are even the daily agenda? How do I want to be notified and do I want to be notified? Okay, so now that I've created that calendar, I go here. So now I want to schedule that meeting to bring my team around reviewing this interview survey. So let's see, I want to call this review survey. Again, there's Google is sharing is caring, and so there's multiple ways in which I can engage my team in this. One way is I can go ahead and select this to be in the actual calendar. So my team members might be able to just see this as they review their calendar once they've accepted it. Or I might also want to invite them specifically. I kind of like the invite specifically because when they RSVP, I can actually see that. And we are going to do it on join Google Meet. Maybe some of them have seen the document that I've shared or the survey I shared with them, but I'm going to go ahead and attach it anyways. Go to my project folder, open that up, select the survey and select. Okay, and then I want to save that. All right, so there I can see that event right here. So that's a way that I'm utilizing and communicating via Google in order to facilitate collaboration. Another way to communicate on Google, of course, is through our Gmail. Um, and your Gmail can be used to send all different kinds of information. Also, from your Gmail, you can go ahead and create a new meeting or join a Google Meets meeting. I want to go back to this. So now, in order to see how we can collaborate, I am going to move over to the team member side of the equation. So here I am on the team member side. I am going to, first thing in the morning, I get up and I check my Gmail. Oh, and I noticed that my team leader has sent me several things. One of them is that they shared an invitation for me to add this calendar. And I do want to add the project calendar. Add here. And I'm not going to request. Okay. Oh, shucks. And so right here we have the, where to go? Oh, that didn't work. Let me try that again. View your calendar. Here we go. Alrighty. So now we can see the various calendars that we have. Alrighty. And, oh, you know why it's not happening? You have to go up here. There we go. Okay, so now I can see where that calendar just came in and how we're going to review questions in the interview. And I'm going to click on here. Again, sharing is caring. And so now I can go ahead as a team member and click on this actual survey that I can see and provide comments to. Okay, and so that's how we can work on a shared document. Also, if you go, when we think about Google and its management, a lot of it is again held in the Drive. So we can come here. Click on this and be able to see it actually in Drive because we've downloaded that. I really like Google, working in Google Docs. I've worked on it, whether it was with working on a grant in a team or even on an accreditation report. We can work simultaneously and you can see those edits happening as they occur. Again, a really great collaboration tool. I've done a lot of meetings on Google Meets and utilizing Google Docs to sort of take notes, and everyone receives those notes and is able to review it as we go through the meeting, as well as make their own comments as well. So Google is really great and very easy. The only thing, again, is because of so many of the entry points, you really need to think strategically about how you want people to receive information in order to collaborate. Alrighty. So that was me doing a lot of talking about all these tools. I haven't had time to sort of look in the chat to see any questions, but it looks like the team has been busy answering the questions. Are there any other questions that I didn't get to or that weren't answered?
I think we were able to answer most of them, but as far as some that might be of interest to those who maybe were so engrossed in the presentation they didn't get to check out the chat box, there was a question about in these tools where people can work simultaneously, whether it be students or staff.
Mhm.
Are they then able to save all of the work that they've each been doing into one shared document? And then is it possible for one person to accidentally delete something that someone else wrote in that document?
Yes and yes. Um, so that second part of your question is sort of the challenge around being able to share one document. I know in Google, it does provide a history where you can sort of click back and see the history of edits and revisions in the document. And if someone has deleted, you are able to sort of go back to a previous version. In Edmodo, you really it doesn't allow for that. So if a student deletes something off of the shared document, it's gone. And so that is really one of the challenges there. In teamwork, what you really are doing is, unfortunately, you're not working simultaneously in like a shared file. And so you can download the document, do your edits, and then upload um, that new revision back into the file or into the task as a document. And so that kind of prevents a little bit of, somebody else deleting it unless they go into your new version and delete it from your new version. However, you might have that version still saved on your hard drive. Does that answer that question?
I think so. And if
Okay.
anybody has a follow up, feel free to pop that in the chat. The
Okay.
other question that came up was, are there any fees associated with any of these programs?
Yeah, no, what I did was I demonstrated all of the free versions, so there are no fees. If you want more sort of functions, particularly like with Edmodo and Teamwork, well, actually all of them, then you actually start to have paying. Both for Edmodo, there are different group packages. For Teamwork, it's based on user. Um, and how many users you have in a team and how many projects you actually want to have. And I think also, for Google Classroom, if you have Google Enterprise or Google Nonprofit, which I believe sometimes in Google Nonprofit, if you submit your eligibility, you are able to get it at either no cost or low cost and are able to have more functions available. But what I shared today was all the free versions.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so oh boy, sorry, I've been doing a lot of the talking, and there's a lot to share. Again, that was just on the collaborative features of those tools, but I want to sort of hear from you in chat, uh, whether or not any there are any tools that you think would work best for your project, and then also how are you sort of intentionally supporting staff and student collaboration in this virtual moment. Um, Also, I don't know, Sarah, I didn't get to see at the beginning, but with any of the projects that people thought were, um, they weren't able to go virtual with yet, did I cover anything or were there any like loose ends hanging on that?
No loose ends. We didn't have any particular shares on that one. I think folks were
Okay.
just looking to get inspired and grab ideas.
Okay, well, great. And I guess, one of the things is sort of jumping in and playing around on it. That's how I learn about these tools and seeing what works best for you. But this is just a great overview to sort of see uh, which tool could work best for your organization. Alrighty. How might you use these tools in your own? Okay, oh, that's you, sorry. Okay, so I guess maybe either there's no comments or people are typing right now. As we sort of collect that, I am going to move on and then look back at the chat. Uh, I just want to know whether or not you thought that this webinar was beneficial. Here's our poll for today, the quick 2-question poll. We will also be putting in the link our survey. Oh, great. People thought that this was useful. I'm very happy to hear that. We want to make sure that these sessions are beneficial to you folks. And so your input is really important to us. Um, okay, oh, great. Spencer is saying they use Canvas. Yeah, most of our teachers are using Canvas for instruction. Awesome. Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Canvas is another great tool. Um, I don't know if I saw if there was a free version, but it does have a lot of great functions that facilitate collaboration. Um, Teams is another app. Yep, that's a great app as well. Um, awesome. If you could take 3 minutes, Rashad has put up our Survey Monkey. Again, your input really helps us to develop webinars that are uh, relevant to you, and make sure that we're delivering in a way that is helpful to you. Oh, mahalo, Spencer. Awesome. Um, and so please take some time to do both the poll and the survey. Looks like everyone has responded to the poll, so we can go ahead and end that. Um, and then here's our calendars. We've got a lot of events coming up. In particular, I want to highlight project planning and reporting for new grantees, as well as for continuing grantees happening tomorrow. Again, we've shared some of the collaboration tool and we looked at teamwork. You really want to start to plan out way ahead in advance how you are going to be collecting the information necessary for reporting. And so both of these trainings will allow you to sort of think about how you're going to organize your information, and so that it's not a stressful situation when it comes down to the reporting period, and maybe even being able to get it in before the actual due date. We also have some virtual office hours occurring on Thursday, and then the NAL Talking Circle is happening Thursday as well. Okay, and then awesome. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, this is the contact information for the OIE program team, as well as the OIE technical assistance team. Again, maybe you want to know more about a particular tool, or maybe you want to delve more into a particular area of digital learning. Please let us know. And when you communicate, always include your grantee number and along with your PR number. Again, I hope today was helpful. I want to wish you all a very safe and pleasant and warm Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. Ahui ho, as we say in Hawaiian, until we meet again. Aloha.